Hey guys, Vina here, and I know it's been a couple of days. Now you know I only post videos when I'm led to, or in this case, it's sort of both. It's like life was kind of lifing. And I know you guys know how that is. Just been a little bit busy, but um, I literally waited until I felt impulsed um, to actually say something direct and meaningful and that people wanted to hear and needed to hear. And so I finally got something and it came through yesterday. And so that is why I am here today. So I want to start off kind of just going right into it. Let's not waste no time. So a couple years ago, I had a series of, and follow me here, follow me very carefully. Had a series of back to back accidents. Not accidents, but operations. Okay, it started off with one. The one operation just went great, went good. I thought it was great. The doctor was great. And for me, it was a hysterectomy. And it seemed like everything went well. And the doctor at the post-op appointment was like, you know what, let me just order a CAT scan, see what's, make sure everything's good. Ordered the CAT scan. Hey, one of your kidneys was shut off. It was blocked during the operation. OMG. This was on a Friday. He's like, we got to get you into surgery immediately. And when I say immediately, it was like this was late Friday. I was to report to surgery Monday morning at like 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning. Now, for those of you that have had surgeries, you know that it's almost impossible to get a surgery within 2 days ever. But yeah, that's how serious this was. The other kidney was enlarged because it was doing the function of one. So, long story short, and I go into this in my book, um, my first book, so I won't go into every little detail. Um, but long story short, that one operation turned into me having five back to back surgeries within the span of a 2 month period. And we're talking major surgeries, like not like little surgeries, okay? One of the surgeries I had to have was I had to wear a nephrostomy bag. And if you don't know what that is, it's a tube that comes directly out of your kidney, drains into a bag on the side of your leg. Um, and you can't really sleep good because you can't sleep on that bag because of course it's on your back, and so that was like a nightmare. But anyway, I would go in for one surgery, and then at that surgery they would find something else, and then it was like, oh my gosh, you have to have this and then you have to have that, and it was like this was me nonstop, like horrified. Okay. Not to mention, as a result of the first surgery, because I had to have a lot of anesthesia, and then I kept having anesthesia for these other surgeries that I had to have. My hair just fell out. Like it just, I remember one morning just waking up and like half my hair was on the pillow. Okay. But who cares about hair when, you've been cut like in so many different places so quickly and don't have time to heal. So, long story short, I went through 2 months of these surgeries, super duper pain, all kind of stuff going on. Not to mention my nose, my sinuses were having issues. I was bleeding profusely from my sinuses because I had a tumor in my nose. But we couldn't deal with that because we had to deal with fixing the kidney issue, and it was just like a night nonstop nightmare. Okay, and so basically at the end of the 2 month period, they had basically corrected the problem, got the kidney functioning. I was in super duper pain, couldn't walk. It took me like 15 minutes to walk a few feet to my bathroom. And then once I got there, I was just too exhausted to do anything. And another 15 minutes back. So it was like, and that was after I got my catheter taken out because I had to wear that for weeks. But anyway, okay, that was the period for me for like a solid 2 months of horror, 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 and then more horror. Okay. At the end of all of that, right? I, my kidney was restored. Both kidneys were normal size and functioning. I eventually gained my mobility. I healed just fine. And other than the major scars that I had to have, and I had a T scar all across my abdomen, as well as um, a permanent scar from the nephrostomy bag that I had to wear for months. Um, Other than those scars and, getting myself back and et cetera, everything turned out good. In the midst of that, one day I remember sitting on my bed and saying, and it coming to me, okay, ride it out, ride this out, go with what you know. And what I knew was that all of this was planned. Somehow I planned all of this and I learned a lot. My life and my true self com- went through such a complete transformation after that experience. So not only was I restored to almost perfect health, okay, and to this day I have very little issues with that situation. Um, I changed completely as a person, one to where I like myself a lot better and a lot more. And I also was able to integrate my near death experience into my life even more. Okay. So, why am I sharing this? Because that is what the country is going through right now with this deranged psychopath and his minions in office. It's one horror after another. And it was given to me to tell you that story because there is a big comparison between that and what this country is going through on a much larger scale. Okay? One nightmare after another. Okay? Now, the universe during that time of my surgery used the doctor that it used. She was basically incompetent, and very new, I found out later. Um, Used her to deliver this situation to me. Okay. And it probably could have been any other doctor, I guess. But this particular one. The universe is literally using Trump and his minions to do what it needs to do for this country. Okay. Um, Here's something that I know a lot of people may resonate with and understand and believe. A lot of people that are here today on this earth were actually here during World War II. Okay. A lot of people need and needed this. I'll say it's beyond a test. Needed this experience of going through this now because there are things that on a mass scale we have to either purge or be on the right side of, that were not on the right side of things during World War II. We have a lot of, I'll say, expats that have come in again to do the right thing at this period of time that they didn't do the right thing in during World War II. Okay, a lot of folks have reincarnated. Okay, now for those that don't need that test of integrity, okay, that don't need that um, experience, will not be as affected by what is going on now as much. Sure, they will feel empathetic, like myself, feel the actual horror of what is going on. And it is horrific. Make no mistake, it's horrific. I mean, we're literally watching things, this country uh, being cooped. Okay, we're literally, it is unfolding as we speak. Okay, but here's the thing: DM, DT. I'm sorry, DTEM, the Project 2025 leader guy, JD Vance, whoever else is involved in the play, they are literally just playing their parts. They are literally playing their parts. They don't have any more power than you or I in the in what needs to be. Okay? Believe it or not, they are just as powerless. They're playing their parts in this play just as we are playing our parts in this play. They just have the role of villains. Okay? So, what we must do is stay with our integrity, our spiritual integrity. And what is that spiritual integrity? Desiring, your highest desire is to be with the good. Your highest desire is to desire divine love. That is spiritual integrity. Okay? Um, and do whatever you can to keep yourself on the side of trusting and going with the flow of the divine. This is literally all a play playing out. Okay? Like I said, those that need to be affected by it the most are being affected by it the most. I don't know all the mechanisms and ins and outs of who came to um, suffer what they needed to suffer or go through what they needed to go through. And guess what? That's not my job or purpose. I can be compassionate, which I am. I can be understanding. I can certainly be on the side of right. Like for instance, I would never, ever, ever call ICE on anyone. Ever. Okay. I'm not participating in that. Period. Okay. I was so proud of one of my granddaughters works at a fast food place, and there are several um, immigrants that work with her. And she said that they didn't show up to work one day because they were fearing that ICE was going to come around because ICE had been around the corner at one of the gas stations. And she said, "Gee, Mom, I just felt so bad for them, and I know they have to be scared." And I said, "They are. They are scared." And and she's like, "I don't know what to do." I'm like, "By you not even thinking of turning them in, that's what you need to do." And I'm so proud of her for that not even occurring to her. So proud of her for that. And I said, what has to happen will happen, but you don't have to play your part in that. Okay? And if you can protect them, protect them. And she's like, "Oh yeah. Oh yeah." So proud of her for that. So proud she'll never know. But anyway, and the funniest thing is and look, there are some people that need to be deported, right? There are some criminals here that, you know, adios, see you later. Okay. But the majority, no. However, I don't know what their karma is. I don't. I don't know what role they agree to play a part in all this is. So instead, I'm going to be a kind, compassionate, understanding, and loving observer on my train of divine love. A kind, compassionate, loving observer. And certainly if I can help, I will help. That's without saying. If there's some way I can help someone, I'm going to do it. I can be a holy, nasty bee when I have to be, but I am literally probably one of the kindest people on earth. And I, my kindness, many people will never see. And that's not important. I don't need no one to see it. And that is how we stay in tune with divine love. Love is the only thing that is in charge. It just needs to use certain people and certain situations, okay, for the unfolding of growth, for the rectifying of some of our karmic obligations. You know, it is very important for us when we come here. If we have karmic obligations to fulfill, it's very important for us to fulfill them because otherwise, our spirits on the other side cannot basically sit right. We have to get that balance. And by going through this mechanism here in 3D land, is the way we can acquire some of that balance back. Okay? So let's not give DTEM or anyone else any supposed power that they think they have. Yeah, EM is doing this and DT is doing that and blah, 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 blah. Well, and here's another thing. So I told you guys, Mars is still retrograde. So a lot of this stuff, and it's already kind of, you know, been wishy back and forth. Implement this up. Next day, it's backtrack. That happened with a couple of the things, right? Um, and then, the funniest thing is DT is modeling his supposed takeover of the government by, Hungary's president, Orban. Well, Hungary is now in like it's an authoritative government, right? Well, it's now in like a free fall. It's just collapsing at every angle. I mean, Google it. It's just in a total free fall because authoritarianism just doesn't. It's just not the way things work, you know. Um, so, excuse me. So anyway, now I want to jump also to another subject, very important subject, Kamala. A lot of people have literally battered me every video about why don't I mention Kamala? Why don't I mention Kamala? Right? And I haven't mentioned her since November. Since probably the beginning of November, I have not mentioned her. And that is because I was literally instructed by the universe not to be silent on that and to wait until it was the right time. So it's like the right time now to talk about Kamala. Number one, I can tell you she received a shock to her psyche by this loss. Super shock. And I did see. It was worse than a gut punch. It was a true shock to her psyche. And she needed to recover from that. Okay. The second thing was a lot of people became, and this may piss some people off, but a lot of people need to hear this. Okay. And this is what I'm being told to tell you. You know how MAGA is hyper focused on DT? Well, a lot of people became hyper focused on Kamala. Now, a lot of people were drawn towards the hope, the joy she brought, her campaign brought, right? The promise of just a beautiful type of existence, a different, she was like a breath of fresh air, right? And so, rightfully so, many people were attracted to that, okay? But some people became super hyper focused and is refusing to see anything else. Okay? So you you got your MAGA focused on DT, and then you got some that are hyper focused on Kamala instead of reality. Okay? Instead of on what is really happening. It was devastating that she lost, um, heartbreaking. It was it was truly like a shock to our system, right? Truly a shock. And I don't need to tell you that I voted for it because you all know that. I couldn't even dream of voting for um, actually any Republican at this point in the game. None whatsoever. And that is just because of the dangerous mindset that they have, and they're the most unenlightened group of people that basically are alive on this planet right now. So until they change, I no. But I mean, I know that um, her winning or her actually just entering the race, right, was gave us something that this country hadn't had for years. Okay. And it was a beautiful thing. But at some point, people had to accept it, move on, and look at reality and what the universe is presenting to us. And a lot of people are not doing that. They're still literally trying to, I don't know. You cannot manifest something that's from your inner desire, okay? What you want and expect the universe to go along with it if it goes against universal law, if it goes against the harmony of things, if it goes against um, the necessity of what the universe needs to unfold. Okay. You just cannot go against the universe. Okay. And to ignore reality and keep your own vision of what you want and what you think, okay, is basically a recipe for uh, like a mental illness of some type. Okay. Yes, it is painful. Absolutely. And like I said, a lot of you are going to be pissed by that, but that's the truth. You're hyper focused on Kamala instead of looking at reality. Okay. And because in looking at reality, you can see what the universe is trying to unfold and show and teach. Okay. So that is the reason I have not mentioned her since then. Okay. And I applaud the people. I truly do. I applaud each and every one of you that took that gut punch, grieved it, was angry by it, but then moved on. Seriously, that's what you deserve. Okay. And that doesn't mean that you just say, well, okay, I throw my hands up. I accept what what DT and whoever else is doing, and okay, whatever, I surrender. No, 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 no. That doesn't mean that at all. That means that you are laser focused on knowing that divine love is working out perfection, harmony, the good for all, but in ways that we have to get it, in ways that we will force us to get it, right? We may not always like how we get to a destination, right? It may be a bumpy ride, it may be a long trip, it may be this and that, but gosh, once we get there, we're like, ah, this is great. It was worth it. So, I hope that answers what it answers about Kamala. Now, I do have some predictions I want to talk about, but I want to answer these questions real quick. Um, and someone asked me about these people that are talking about the Galactic Federation and this and that. Yes, there are alien entities that will communicate with humans. However, and here's the red flag, once they start endorsing someone, I don't care who it is. I don't care who it is. They're not the real thing. They're just not the real thing because they do not, um, their focus is more universal, okay? Not person specific. They are into the oneness, okay? The truly advanced ones are into oneness. There's no worship. There's no, this guy is great and he's gonna know. That's never them, never then. And so once a message comes through that they're endorsing this person or that person or mm-mm. And I actually want to talk about that more, but I want to do that in a later video where I have like a little bit more time because I've kind of used up a lot of time right now. So the next question I had was, hi, Bina, can you please explain a little more what you mean by spiritual tests, which I mentioned earlier, right? You said the orange clown and whether people choose to support him or not was a spiritual test. The concept of being tested by the universe has always seemed a little harsh to me, and never fully resonated. But I'm guessing you could explain it in a way where I could see it differently. Okay, so earlier I said that it is vitally important as spiritual entities, okay, to balance out the energies because that's the only thing that resonates in the universe. Balance, perfect harmony, okay? So if we have lived in different existences where we have leaned too far one way or too far the other way, it is vital to us that we balance that. Okay. And so we will come in and literally test ourselves. So that is what is meant by a spiritual test or the universe test us. It is to balance those energies. There's never any cruel intention beyond it with that. Never. There's no cruelty. There's no meanness. There's no bad luck. Anything. It is to balance those energies, and that's something we generated for ourselves. In the case of when I say DT is like a spiritual test of integrity, that is because many of us as a collective, okay, agreed to test the balance of our energy, our integrity, okay, to see if we are riding that even keel. Okay, so that's never the universe being cruel, mean, none of that. Ever, ever, ever. In other words, it's like if you have the scales of justice, right? There's two scales, okay? Well, on one, maybe you have something that kind of weighs it down. And so you decide, you know what, let me add some more weight to the other side to bring it even. The weight to the other side is, hey, um, you need to experience this to see your reaction. and to see if it is in line with universal law, the law of love. That's all. Is it in line? Does it balance? Hey, it balances. The test is removed. Don't need it anymore. Poof, it's gone. All right. So you think the person that asked that it didn't resonate with you because to you it always felt like the universe was being mean. Never that. And listen, you can decide to deliver these tests of your integrity in different ways. But if you don't initially get it the softer, easier way, it will continue to come in more difficult ways until you get it. What's the difference? Someone tapping you lightly on the shoulder or someone saying, yo, oh, yes. Which one are you more apt to pay attention to? Now, if you take that little tap on the back and say, oh, yes, and you answer it, hey, you're good. You don't need the harder. You don't need it. Okay, so I hope that helps answer that. Um, I think this is going to be the last question here. Vina, can you please tell the other two causes of schizophrenia besides hate? Well, I don't know if I said it was just two. There's a few different causes of schizophrenia. Hate harboring hate will fracture your psyche, your mental psyche. Okay, so that's definitely one of them. Um, Another one is when a person um, basically their veil between this existence and the spiritual world is not meshed together too tight, and other entities can come through, and they do come through. Okay. um and in the case of that happening, um you can petition, ask, your guide, your spiritual companion to help you with that, to help keep them out. Okay. Now, there is like the case of if and this is, it's very true, but it's very sad when a person has been very mentally manipulative towards others, in maybe not this life but in a past life, different life. I'll say different life. I don't like to use past because the whole time is on, linear thing. But anyway, when a person has been very manipulative, mentally controlling, they can have schizophrenia in this life. They can have that infusion of different to where they don't have the control of their mind. You see? That's the energies balancing. So that's another way. But there's more than just the three. I'm not sure where that exact number came from them, um, but there are more than those. But those are like some prevalent ones. Okay, statement here, real quick. Uh, Mexico and Canada are putting tariffs on the United States goods, yes, but they are targeting red states. Interesting how the universe is having that unfold. I would have never thought of that. I literally would have never thought of that. How brilliant is that? Like, brilliant. I guess that's just how it has to go. Um, let's see. Oh, uh, okay. Let's do some predictions. So I've been telling you guys about EM being very sick. Well, I've been saying that since what, late summer, fall of last year. And that's mentally and physically. He's just sick, mentally, physically. And I said that we would find out, it would be like common knowledge by before the summer of this year. So I think we all agree that, yeah, that's pretty common knowledge about the mental aspect. But the other day, something else came through and it was a little shocking to me. And I really had to wait on this one. And I know I've talked about DT and not being around long. And if he does last, he'll be fundamentally changed to an unrecognizable person. But EM, how can I say this and avoid the censors? Um, there could be an issue with their life also, and that came through. I believe there could be danger that way, big time, and they just should be careful. I guess. I guess. I guess. That's all I'm just gonna say of that. I am super concerned about the Super Bowl, and there's two reasons. I do see something electrical going on with the Super Bowl that's not a normal thing. And I see some type of um, I know that uh, there will be some type of incident of a ship uh, around that area. But in conjunction with that, I just see some type of electrical orange white, like, explosion thing or something. And so I personally hope that it's part of a halftime show. But since it was shown to me, I'm not sure. People just be careful if you're going there. Just be careful. Be careful. And at the first sign of anything that may not look right, leave. Just be careful. Yes. Okay. So you know how occasionally I'm given specific dates. My companions are unbelievable with specific dates that they give. Remember they gave December 18th, January 5th, third week in January for the stock market stuff. They've been spot on, pinpoint, direct, right. The next date I'm given is February 25th. Now, I was given a teeny bit more information. There's two major things on that date. One of them does involve the economy, okay? And it probably will be the stock market. And if you remember my initial predictions about the stock market, I said that after the second major tumble of the stock market, be very careful about your stocks. By February 25th, I believe you'll know why. Be very careful, very conservative with investing. Um, and your stock markets. But there's also something else sort of not related to that for February 25th. February 25th, mark that on your calendars. Okay? That date is like this huge in my mind. Okay? Just keep it, mark it in your on your phone, in your calendars. All right? Um And I think that that is all I'm going to do for now. I've been talking for 45 minutes and I feel like I probably lost half of you. But thanks for listening. Hopefully, I'll be back soon. And I do kind of miss you. I love you guys' comments. You guys are awesome. You're one of the most enlightened group of people. Some of you are just like deliberately prickly. And that's even okay. Now, when you get nasty, I just block you. I just hide you from the channel. Because there's never any need for just deliberate nasty or cruelty. Cruelty is something I just cannot abide. But you just being prickly or disagreeing, we can do that all day, every day. But most of you are just the most loving. And remember, that's a circle. Everything comes back. Everything comes back. Everything must balance. Okay, guys? So take care. And until we see each other again, all right?